friends, episode number 11 of Goblin Slayer. And personally, I think we have another kind of boring episode of Goblin Slayer. Now, before you immediately take to the comments, I'm not saying that this episode, episode 11, episode 10, episode 9, I'm not saying that they've been bad, but they haven't been like objectively good either. And I think that's where I'm really struggling with. It's like I feel like each episode is just more of the same. And in a sense, it's like, well, in most anime, a lot of times, like that's all you want. You just want more of this thing. But like with Goblin Slayer, if you literally compare each episode of season 1, it's like it set a bar and it was like, we're going to be this good and we're going to do these handful of things and you're going to get that every single episode. And that's really what we got. And this episode has just been slower. There hasn't been a lot of action. When there is action, it kind of feels like it's forced. When there is those moments that like those cringe moments of somebody being sacrificed, somebody being R-worded or whatever, it's like it feels forced in. And that's where like my problems have been this season, is like these moments that make you the cringe moments have just, I feel like they've been forced as opposed to more natural. And the gruesome stuff, I feel like also has been forced as well too. Like this week, we spent a whole little period of time on frankly characters we just don't care about, just so that they can show us later down the line of the goblins raining out the sky and them taking them down. Now, I appreciate the comedy in the fact that Goblin Slayer beamed a bunch of goblins to fall out the sky and they happen to fall in front of these adventures. I do appreciate that. But it's like we wasted a little bit of time this episode on characters, like I said, that when I say we, I just mean me, I don't frankly care for. And then there's other gaps within this episode as well, too. Like we have the princess who essentially stole Saint Girl's everything, right? She stole her whole jam. And this week we have this episode come back and Saint Girl is in her full garb once again, looking exactly the same as she has before. So it's like, okay, did she have an extra pair? Did she go and get, items equipped? Where was that journey of her getting all her stuff back, once again, even though it was initially stolen? It's like, okay, where did that journey happen? What exactly happened there? Like, okay, I want that gap, kind of just filled in, maybe just a couple of minutes, of just like, maybe even 60 seconds of just like her going to the store or going home and be like, oh, thank God I had a spare, or so, I don't know, just something like that, right? I will say, there are moments of like, oh, this is a good moment that I genuinely like. But it's like those moments for me are, lately in Goblin Slayer have been few and far between. And I'll give you like an example. Moments here, Sword Saint shows up. Every time she shows up on the screen, I love it, right? She shows up and she gives a real moment of herself of saying like, I don't know if I could be an adventurer again. I'm a weak girl. We see her shaking and she's like, all the goblins need to be eradicated for, what they did to her. Like, they've left her seriously scarred. And I was like, okay, that's a really cool moment of not only seeing her on screen and seeing her love for Goblin Slayer and, seeing a little, booba fan service. But then on top of that, too, it's like seeing a real moment that she shared with this other servant girl, right? So that, for me, that was like, okay, that's a really cool moment. Later on in the episode, way later on, as they're fighting the goblins and they find the princess, Saint Girl ends up having her moment that I'll call like, her moment where she can shine and purify, and she caught on to what was happening and the sacrifice and purification, and that they were doing some like blood shenanigans or stuff. Like she noticed, so she got time in the limelight. I enjoyed that moment as well too. But all of the little stuff beforehand of them finding their way into this goblin thing and all that stuff beforehand, I like it's just more Goblin Slayer stuff. Nothing that was like, oh my God, nothing that was exceptional, just, more Goblin Slayer stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at this point, is like, I don't mind the turn your brain off, just, if you pay 110% attention or if you pay 10% attention, you're getting the same kind of experience. I don't necessarily mind that in certain cases, but I just like, I don't know. I guess it just, like I said, in season 1, it just set a level of precedence that season 2 just frankly hasn't been meeting for me. So Episode 11 though, again, fine. I think there was a couple of moments of really cool moments. I think the Saint Girl moment, you know, the Saint Sword Saint moment of, you know, that vulnerability moment was cool. Saint Girl, you know, having the time in the light to really shine and show her chops, I think was really cool. But we'll see how the season ends. But I would say, you know, Goblin Slayer I would put up there as like a really high 7 out of 10, you know, like 7.9, 7.5, like almost an 8 out of 10 anime. Understanding its shortcomings, but going like, man, this is a really cool experience. And for me, entertainment wise, I would be like Goblin Slayer season 1 in the movie, 9 out of 10 for me, entertainment wise. You know, ridiculing it and critically looking at it, you can probably say 7 or 8 out of 10. But I really feel like season 2 has really been like a 6 or like a 7 out of 10, probably in the 6s somewhere there. And not only from critically, but then also entertainment wise, like just like how much I'm loving watching this. So from those two angles, it's kind of failed for me. So, anyways, harsh. I know, I understand. If you love it, hey, no problem. This is just my personal dumb opinion. Let me know yours in the comments. See you guys next week. Peace.